Hi everyone, it's Gianni the Poacher here with you for TheoTrade, and today is Thursday, the 29th of May, 2025. We actually have stocks slightly lower on the day here. We had an announcement yesterday evening that a trade court ruled that Trump's tariffs were illegal, and markets initially rallied sharply off the news. And since then, we've seen pretty much nothing but selling since the early morning session. Stocks feeling some pressure, but there have been some good things also happening in the tape. Keep in mind that we started off the week on a very strong note, confirming almost confirming one of the ignition points that I've been talking about through the great tech reset. And we completed that higher low last Friday, which is a bullish signal. Right now, the Nasdaq is underperforming the S&P, which suggests some caution, but it's not a fully bearish tape. You do have semiconductors outperforming both the S&P and the Nasdaq today, and that's largely because Nvidia had good earnings. Now, I know there are some caveats to this good earnings, but when a name like Nvidia, with its size and magnitude and importance for the overall market, not just in the tech space, but for semiconductors and all the AI technology, has a good run like it is, I think it sends a signal that more upside is to come. This setup that we're seeing here in Nvidia is pointing to potentially another $80 rally, taking prices as high as 230 in time. Now, I'm not calling for that next week or next month. I'm actually looking for Nvidia to kind of go sideways here over the next few sessions, digest some of these gains. But if it starts to take out the highs from earlier this year, I am looking for more upside. And, some of these other semiconductor names that we've been watching, like Broadcom. We actually have a long position open on Broadcom. Those have been looking good. Advanced Micro Devices trying to break out of this bottoming formation. Overall, the tech space is looking good. We've also been bullish on Tesla, which is hanging out near the highs of the day, spinning its wheels. This is a setup that I've felt so strongly about that I shared it across every platform that I have here on TheoTrade. It is a trade in the live room, in the daily chat room. It is a trade in the Trinity trade. And it is a trade, an overweight trade in the $1 million challenge portfolio as well. So Tesla, again, it's one of those things that we can't just look at Tesla through the lens of being an automaker. In fact, I think most of its value nowadays is coming from its AI technology, its robotics, and its battery storage technology. So I don't think it's so much a story about the vehicles anymore. I think it's more about its, groundbreaking technology that it's pushing forth. But a lot of the other Mag 7 names are holding up relatively well amidst some of the turbulence in the indices. Apple's down a little bit, Microsoft holding on to its gains. Microsoft looks exceptionally strong. It's pretty much dancing near its all-time highs now. And this looks like a stock that wants to rip another $100. And so that begs the question, if you get some of these Mag 7 names ripping to the upside, what is that going to mean for the overall indices? Well, I think it's going to point to higher prices. And one of the things I want you to keep in mind in lieu or in light of what has happened here with the tariff situation, you basically have a tax cut now coming from the courts. Okay, so that's pretty big. But here's the other part. We've had the central bank and the Fed, even as recently as yesterday in the FOMC minutes, saying that, hey, we don't want to raise rates because we're concerned about inflation from tariffs. Well, now we don't know when and to what degree tariffs are going to come back. So if we don't have tariffs on the table anymore, or maybe not to the degree that they were going to be on the table, what reason is there left for the Fed to not cut rates? And so is the market starting to discount a higher probability of rates coming down? Well, we're seeing bonds catch a really nice bid today, being led higher by the 30-year bond, a solid rally. We've been looking for a bottom in the bond market. We've been talking about this at length here at TheoTrade. Very much a contrarian position, a lot of fear out there with bonds, liquidity concerns, and sure, a lot of it's justified. But I do think that if interest rates start to come down notably, especially in the short end of the curve, and bond prices start to go higher, it's going to turn into a big tailwind for tech. Tech tends to like lower interest rates. Tech doesn't do as well when inflation is higher. And as we look at crude oil here, it looks like we've completed yet another lower high with respect to the trend. I'm still looking for crude oil to fall into the mid 40s, low $50 area. So crude oil looks like it has some issues. That should be a tailwind for bond prices and by extension, the tech sector as well. Precious metals also seeing a decent rally here today. We have gold and silver up a little bit more. Gold miners are up less than silver miners. Silver miners hitting a new high, which is a good sign. We have a couple open positions here at TheoTrade, Barrick Gold or Barrick Mining now, and Pan American Silver. Really not making that big of moves. But some of the better plays that we've had continue to be in the tech space. We're looking at names like Netflix, seeing a little bit of selling today, but within spitting distance of our upside target of 1260. AppLovin has been another decent trade. We're past earnings on that one. Came pretty close to our upside target at 410 today. We recently captured profits on Tigo, or Millicom International, a telecom name, on the rally to 38. And so tomorrow, what I like to do on Fridays here at TheoTrade is run through the list of names that we have been covering and deciding whether we want to keep them or get rid of them. I call it garbage day because for a stock to be in your portfolio, you need to consider it as a privilege. As a privilege. If a stock is not serving you, if it is not actively contributing to your portfolio's bottom line, then it has no place in the space. Get rid of it. And so it's an exercise that we do on each Friday. I hope that you'll be able to tune in and join me because it's a very constructive exercise. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin spinning its wheels near the all-time highs. Looks like we're getting a retest of former resistance turn support. Take a look at the intraday chart here. You have been selling for most of the day. Ethereum has actually been holding up better. We are pretty constructive on Ethereum, have some open trades on ETHA and some other crypto-related names like HUT and even MicroStrategy. Down today. Well, actually, MicroStrategy is up today. HUT is down today. Seeing a little bit of selling here going into the close. But we are looking for a higher low and eventually a resumption of the uptrend. Obviously, there was that big news earlier this week that DJT, the Trump media company, is looking at following a sailor strategy. That doesn't seem to be working out so well at the moment. I think maybe it is a tactic that has been overextended, but I think that we are getting close to a alt season situation in crypto, especially if Ethereum can get above 2,800. I'm looking for a straight shot back to 41, 4,200 at that point, guys, because we know when Ethereum runs, it can run. And it's actually a theme that I'm looking at here because Ethereum is kind of like silver in the sense of where, you have the big brother in Bitcoin, the big brother in gold. If we are going to see crypto and metals run again, I'm looking for more leadership coming from silver, more leadership coming from Ethereum, and by extension, some of these altcoins. So that's what's going on in this market right now. I think it's a tape to just wait out. We had a decent run higher, getting a little bit of selling here going into the close. But what I'm looking for is basically for us to finish in a similar ballpark to where we are today, tomorrow on the week. And you zoom out, take a look at the weekly chart. We still are up on the week as long as we see technology hold its position as the leader on the week. You did have consumer discretionary do better on Tuesday compared to tech, but it is down today while XLK is holding up a little bit better. So we'll see where the final scorecard rests. But over the last month, technology has been the strongest sector. Last week, it was actually consumer staples. But as long as we see tech displaying leadership, I see no reason to be bearish. And this is why we have been talking about the great tech reset. So that's what I have for today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching me. I hope to see you in the TheoTrade chat room tomorrow. Take care.